Well, welcome to part number 2 on the extremely rusty mower. In part number 1, I was working on the engine. I performed a leak down test and a compression test, both of which came up with some pretty bad results. But when it came to starting the engine, it started fine and it ran very smoothly. In fact, it couldn't really have run any better, which was interesting because it didn't really back up the test results. So in this video, I'm going to be performing another leak down test just to see if it's improved. There is a possibility that it freed off a stuck ring when we started it up. So yeah, if it has improved, then it could well have been that. But this video is now going to be a bit more than just doing another leak down test. Later on, I'm going to be starting the D1200, see if it still runs, see if the oil has leaked back into the crankcase. That is the project I was working on in December. But yeah, more importantly, this machine, I would like to try and drive it. Something which I said in the first video that I definitely wasn't going to do. But since it does have such an unusual gearbox, I'm very tempted to give it a go. Because this mower is a four-wheel steer, meaning we actually have steering integrated into the gearbox. We've got these universal joints. So it's interesting because I could actually fit this gearbox to the front of another machine and create a four-wheel drive mower out of a two-wheel drive mower, which could be extremely fun to do. Let's try and get it going. It's going to be quite tough though, because this thing is seized. Well, firstly, that lever does nothing at all. This lever, which is the speed selector, does plenty. And nothing at all, because it's no longer connected to anything. I think the linkage is snapped, I'm pretty sure it has, unless it's just detached somehow. I'll look into it, but yeah, more importantly, forward and reverse is well and truly seized, but I don't know exactly how that lever works. It does seem to be a bit different to normal. And I think I've started to get the steering to work on the back, so I'm just going to demonstrate that. It does still need a bit more freeing off. Well, here we are underneath the machine. I've just been trying to figure out how it works exactly, and it looks like when you shift the rod forwards and backwards, it's actually not doing anything up here. There's no groove for it to move in, it just stays where it is. What it's actually doing is moving this part, and then the rod which leads into the gearbox, that'll move in and out to change it from forward, neutral and reverse. But yeah, this part here seems to be seized, so I'm just going to lubricate it quite a bit and see if I can free it off. Well, that was easy. Yeah, before I was pushing on that lever, it was doing nothing. This is why it's worth looking into things. Right, so I've just been looking into the speed selector issue, and it really has had it. It's completely seized up, but it doesn't mean that I won't be able to drive it, because it will have seized in a certain position, which will be one of these speeds. I'm hoping it's sort of mid-range, but yeah, even top speed isn't exactly fast. It's always a bit of a shock if you launch it straight away. But anyway, it'll be interesting to see what it does. When I initially start it, I'll have it up on axle stands, so we'll get it driving without actually contacting the ground. That way I don't fly off the back. Anyway, let me just get things sorted here. We'll probably just leave it with the wheel off, and we will see what it does. Right, well, as you just saw, it does drive at 1 speed, which means the gearboxes work. It's just the variable speed pulley can't be adjusted. I think it's actually completely seized up. So yeah, that does actually confirm that the gearbox is fully working, so I'm very happy about that. Anyway, let's move on to the leak down test, which I probably should have done at the end of the previous video, but let's see if we can beat 47% cylinder leakage. Right, so I've already set the engine to top dead centre. I just need to set this to 0, and then we can do the leak down test. Okay. We are getting around 37%. So it has improved. And that is actually in the green. That is low cylinder leakage. So I'm wondering, it could just be because it's at operating temperature, which is when the test should be performed. But a ring could have just been slightly stuck, and that has just freed it off, and now we're getting good compression or low cylinder leakage. I will do a compression test as well. It'll be interesting if we've got it above 25%, because 25% is not good. That's really bad. You can just hear how much quieter it is. It was escaping so quickly through the breather. And yeah, there is still a bit of leakage, but I think you'd expect that. Okay, well, it is up a bit, 30, just about 30 psi, 29. Still not that good. And I have just checked this compression tester against another engine, and it is giving a good reading, so it's certainly not the tool itself. Right, okay, well, there we go then. It is about 29 psi. So there we go, some fairly interesting results. I'm going to leave this project here. I think I've done everything that I want to do for now, but I might rebuild the engine in the future, and the gearbox I'm going to be keeping because that is quite rare and it could be used on a future project, such as a 4-wheel drive mower or some kind of off-roading mud mower. Many things that can be done with those. They are quite interesting. So yeah, let me know what you think about the tests that I just did. They do seem to be quite interesting, especially the compression tests. It runs fine, but it must be low on compression. They must just be very forgiving engines. Oh, before I forget, the deck. Yeah, it's really bad. Just look at the nuts holding on the spindles and the blades. This thing is rotten. Pretty sure it is completely seized, yeah. Yep, both spindles. So I don't think there's anything good on there. I think that is just scrap. Moving on now to the Westwood D1200. So we're going to see if it has filled the crankcase with oil again. The level on the dipstick has gone down by about 25%. It was on the full mark. So I think the best thing to do next is to try and turn the engine over by hand to see if it's aqua locked. It does seem to be turning over fine. It has higher compression than the petrol, so it is quite tricky to turn by hand anyway. But yeah, I think I'll be quite safe to start this. It hasn't run since just before Christmas, about the 21st of December. Well, there we have it. Seems to run fine, despite the cold. I'll just recheck the oil level. Bear in mind it has been running, so it will be showing higher than if it was a cold reading. Well, there we go, it is just over the full mark, so the scavenge pump is working really well. It's brought all the oil out of the dry sump, back into the storage tank on the rear of the engine. But yeah, it does seem to leak very slowly over time, so really if you use it once every 2 to 3 months you should be fine. I did actually look into the check valve and it seems to be obsolete, so it's not really repairable. But as I said, if you keep using it, it looks like it won't be an issue. It is just a very fascinating engine because it is essentially a horizontal shaft engine flipped upon its end and converted into a vertical shaft. So anyway, we're going to leave this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I really do hope you've enjoyed it. And yeah, until next time, which won't be too long, I'll see you again soon.